New York City became a global center of capital at the cost of removing the working class's right to the city, first through urban renewal and now through gentrification. Community organizers in the South Bronx fear that Mayor Bill de Blasio's 10-year Housing New York plan, a response to a growing homeless population being priced out of the housing market, will lead to further displacement in an area historically neglected by the city. When the state and the market failed to provide for the working class, as it did back in the 1970s, and as it does now, grassroots organizing provides opportunities for equitable planning interventions that also remedy harm. In July 1970, the Young Lords Party, a Puerto Rican activist group, took over Lincoln Hospital at 141st Street and Bruckner Boulevard in response to city negligence. Over the course of 24 hours, they, alongside hospital workers and residents, ran healthcare programs including tuberculosis and lead poisoning detection tests, and set up a daycare center for patients and hospital workers. Pablo Yoruba Guzman, Minister of Information for the YLP, said, "We are here with nothing but love for our people. We are not armed, and we will leave this hospital only when it starts serving the people." From this action came a new hospital on East 149th Street and Morris Avenue and the implementation of their 10-point health care plan. But how did we get here? Understanding the impact of urban renewal on the South Bronx helps us grasp the consequences of the risks New York City was willing to take in order to save itself from financial ruin, and why they matter today. In the 1950s, as American families took advantage of the post-war housing boom, highways were built, and while they served to boost the automobile industry, they also divided and cut the South Bronx from the rest of the city. The 1960s and 70s marked a period of urban unrest as white middle-class families fled the South Bronx for neighborhoods in North Bronx and Westchester, taking with them their tax money. A predominantly Black and Puerto Rican working class was left to fend for themselves as the city attempted to cut social services, such as fire department funding and hospital care, to manage a growing budget deficit. These cuts, combined with significant changes in population, negligence of aging housing stock, and arson, meant the Bronx was burning. New York City was nearly bankrupt. In 1975, President Ford signed the New York City Seasonal Financing Act, effectively bailing out the city and $1.3 billion worth of federal loans. Eager to pay back the loans, the city began anew with an image overhaul and construction in downtown Manhattan. Today, 1.4 million New Yorkers live in the Bronx. 56.6% of these residents are of Hispanic descent, one of the heaviest and segregated concentrations in New York City. Of the foreign-born, many came in the 1980s and 90s to fill the city's demand for construction. 30.3% of the population lives under the poverty line. Here, too, is the Jerome Avenue neighborhood study area, a 92-block strip of land running under the elevated 4 train. It is home to a significant number of automobile shops and other small businesses. It is also the first area in the Bronx to be up for rezoning to make room for more affordable housing under the 10-year housing plan. The income brackets of affordable housing units are calculated according to HUD guidelines on area median income, or AMI. The AMI for New York City is $95,400 for a family of 4. For communities in the South Bronx, earning median household incomes of $38,900, these calculations leave many families out in the cold. With the rising number of evictions and households living in overcrowded apartments and/or are rent burdened, the stakes are again much too high. At present day, the Bronx Coalition for a Community Vision is pushing to stop the proposed Jerome Cromwell rezoning entirely. The coalition's goals are to work with the DCP to craft a revitalization plan. However, their biggest challenge is time. The coalition and allies have until April 2018 to sway City Council from approving the rezoning plan. To stop displacement, collaborations between grassroots organizations and city planners must renegotiate power. Both players must, 1. Navigate distrust of outsiders by community residents, given past histories of intervention. 2. Acknowledge a new take on the rational ignorance theory, and that anti-displacement or anti-capitalist organizing is not as urgent of a concern as is, say, making sure that residents are able to pay the rent for a place that they might not even be in a year's time. And finally, confront the fear and observation that these cycles of structural harm will continue if we don't act together. When time runs out, where will everyone go?